I've noticed over the last couple weeks, I've definitely fallen away from utilizing a to-do list, both for daily to-dos as well as just monthly objectives. Now, given we are very, very close to entering 2025, the peak of the bull cycle, we're going to need to make sure that we have everything prepped to be able to enter that phase, that year, as strong as possible. And so we've already got the fund distributing contract built and finished. We have a very base template for projects in the future that we can use and edit, obviously, like the founder's information and the about page. But we've got the core, the first stage, the first contract that we're gonna utilize quite a bit. The second one is going to be the contract I've worked on recently with the private jet. We're going to be able to use that one for cars, jets, yachts, a lot of different things. So with both of those, the first one being completed, the second one being like 50% done, we should have both of those ready to go definitely by the end of the month. But I'm going to be going through tomorrow to sit down and prep a December to-do list just to make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row. Now, this video, while today was not a thoroughly productive day as far as building on the business, we had done some other stuff around the house and around Tampa, but I did want to go over an email that I had sent at the very beginning of the year, not the very beginning, but around March time of 2024, outlining my exact idea and hypothesis for this idea in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we had wrote. So again, this was March 19th, 2024. And essentially, what I wrote about is the premise, the idea of how this all fits into the current environment that we were going to see now up until, I would say, around summertime of next year. I may be the first one to say, but I think the bull cycle will peak, will climax at around July of next year. That is just my prediction. We'll see if it comes to pass. But given the bull cycle initiated earlier than it has ever before, I'm expecting that this bull cycle will end earlier than ever before as well. We'll see what happens. So the email reads, as you've likely noticed, billionaires don't work for income. They work for assets. When they need money, they borrow against these assets to avoid income tax, as debt cannot be taxed. This works out great as long as these assets maintain their value. Now, key example of this is Elon Musk, like you guys see in the email. Essentially, how he had paid $44 billion for Twitter is he took a loan out against his other companies. I believe it was Tesla, but it may have been SpaceX. It may have been both. It may have been a mixture. Not quite sure. But what I do know is he didn't just go and take $44 million of stock and sell it to pay for it. He had borrowed against his assets to raise the capital. Now, many people who invested in crypto in 2022 to 2024 will be sitting in profit in 2025. That prediction is looking very nice right now. And anyone who has witnessed the peak of a bull run understands how far the value can drop. Historically, Bitcoin has eased off on its corrections. It peaked at about 68,000 the last cycle, and it dropped to, I think the lowest was 15 or 16K. So a 75% correction. But when you start looking at altcoins, I mean, Ethereum was pretty similar, but altcoins especially really take a beating during the bear cycle. And so anyone who's been in the game for at least one cycle has witnessed that themselves. Even if you haven't invested in crypto, you should at least remember the fact that it had crashed significantly. So in this type of situation, people can either sell their crypto when the market is at its peak and they're going to have to pay capital gains tax. If they have any meaningful amount of money, they're paying 38% on their gains. That is crazy. Now, other option is that they can borrow against their crypto. But if you have $1 million in crypto, you take out $700,000 as a loan, and then your portfolio drops 70%, your loan is getting called due, and you're most likely going to get liquidated. So neither are great scenarios. Now, those, like I mentioned, who have studied these 4-year cycles, it's typically about a year and a half long of a bull cycle that we see. So remember, 2023 is when we had started seeing things pick up. It was around September, October time when Bitcoin really started to move. And so looking at the way, I mean, looking at it from the year and a half long perspective, that would actually put the peak of the market being around April of next year. That would really send some shockwaves to a lot of these people who think it's just getting started. You know, obviously we're paying attention and we're noticing the fact that things are picking up now, but there's going to be so many people next year who are like, oh, now must be a great time to invest. There's still till November. Nope. Y'all will be the not guinea pigs, but the piggy banks, I guess, that we end up breaking to withdraw our funds. Nonetheless, everybody understands what happens during these bear cycles. And if they sell their crypto out of profit, like I mentioned, they are paying a hefty percentage in capital gains tax. Now, a third emerging method for utilizing crypto at peak value is buying assets that they can buy directly with crypto. This is why in 2021, when the market was at its peak, around August time, we started seeing NFTs start to just completely take off. Market got super hyped. People were just throwing money at the wall and seeing what sticks. And a lot of people made very quick money because it was a new technology that people didn't understand, very similar to the dot-com bubble. And so that technology, while it was misused greatly in 2021, still exists and is going to make a comeback. And that is what I refer to here with the NFT market. So currently with the way things stand, buying an NFT is considered a taxable event. But imagine if a company released an NFT that is based in the United States and the revenue from the NFT project is deployed in the United States. There should be some pretty good tax benefits given Trump's stance on crypto and given what he intends to do around the tax policy going into his presidency. He had already talked about eliminating taxes for cryptos that are based in the United States, but I think this could apply to NFTs just the same, especially given that Donald Trump has released his own NFT project. Now, given the nature of NFTs, given they are something that is kept on chain to be able to keep track of assets, similar to a stock or real estate, this can be borrowed against. Now, obviously, given the scams that had permeated the market in 2021, a lot of them crashed and burned when people realized that the project wasn't actually going to have any real value or create any real revenue. And so most of these projects went to zero or dropped 90, 95%. Some of them will recover, as we're already starting to see now in December. However, the value of the technology itself is going to be dependent on the founders, the people behind the project. And so you had a whole bunch of nobodies who came on with cartoon PFPs, profile pics, starting to launch projects last year. Well, what if the demographic of founders changed? What if instead of it just being random people on the crypto chain, what if it was business owners and investors with years, if not decades, of credible experience? I think that is what is going to happen this cycle. Because the thing is most people don't give a fuck about these little communities full of people who just sit in their mama's basement throwing money at crypto and making some cash during the bull cycle and then losing the majority of it during the bear cycle. People don't care to be a part of communities like that. The whole reason people want to invest in NFTs and crypto in the first place is to make money. And so we need to put this technology in the hands of the people who are already skilled and already proven at making money. So the email I had explained a little bit more as far as the relation to the dot-com bubble to just make it more understandable. But essentially what I am planning on doing and what I explain here is that I am planning on creating collections that will represent partnerships with different entities. Now, in this email, this was still the loose ideas, but essentially where this was going was that the entity that releases the NFT project would raise capital that could then be deployed towards real estate. It could be deployed towards business acquisition. We're going to move the money into places where we know it is going to have a strong return. Now, given the massive correction underway within the commercial real estate market, trillions of dollars needing to be refinanced, and on top of that, 40% of small to medium-sized businesses in America are owned by people over the age of 60. These businesses are going to change hand, and that takes money. So what we are doing is we are going to pretty much build the bridge from the capital in crypto to the capital that needs to be raised for buying these baby boomer businesses. And by doing this on chain, for one, we're eliminating the expense of exchange rates that normal crypto investors would have to go through when they change their crypto to USD. We would eliminate that by selling the NFTs directly on chain. On top of this, depending on how things look with Trump, is given buying an NFT project, these projects will be based in the United States, at least a large majority of them. This will present the opportunity for people to potentially avoid paying taxes on their crypto. Now, I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds like something that the IRS is about to bust open my door about right now. However, if Trump wants to make America the crypto capital of the world, he's going to need to incentivize people from around the world to invest in America, to invest in American-made projects. And by building the projects, the way things are looking, it is looking really good for positioning our buckets under this Niagara Falls of cash flow that is going to come from the crypto market to real world assets. So this more so, again, is explaining the early idea of what I had intended. We already built the contract that's capable of dispersing the monthly airdrops to investors. And apartments was the first asset class I was looking at doing this with. I got the inspiration from Grant Cardone, just given apartments are a remarkably sturdy investment. But like I'd mentioned, with the environment around baby boomers and businesses, it presents a perfect opportunity for roll-ups. Now, this is something that, like I mentioned Adam Coffey about in a few videos earlier. I would like to partner with Adam Coffey or someone who is an expert in the roll-up game to release a project and to be able to move those funds into buying more businesses. This is the intention we're going down next year, but to continue with the email, here I'm just explaining how this offer would essentially curtail against the risks involved with borrowing against crypto itself. Given if you're backing an NFT with something like an apartment building, it's not going to have the same amount of volatility that just normal traditional crypto has. Now, on top of this, the cool thing with tokenizing real world assets is that these can be used for collateral with loans. Essentially, if a project is backed by an apartment building and someone wants to take a loan out against the NFTs that they own, they can borrow against those NFTs, and the cash flow from the NFT is able to pay off the loan. So this is essentially what the billionaires and the most influential people in the world do to be able to mitigate the amount of taxes that they're paying upfront when utilizing the capital from their investments. And so what we're looking at with the environment that is setting up, currently the crypto market is up. Bitcoin's at 95K, Zcash is at $75 a coin. Ethereum is still yet to really pump, but it is still under $4,000. When Ethereum really starts moving, that is when we are going to see the NFT market absolutely explode. And I anticipate that that could be as early as January or February of next year. So we've got our work cut out for us. We still do need to build the lending contract, which I'm still working on getting it figured out how we're going to structure this, given we would want the contract to be able to accept payments in ETH rather than just having to do an upfront balloon payment. But obviously, if it's managing multiple NFTs, we would need a way for the contract to identify that a certain NFT is receiving cash flow so that the cash flow that it's collecting is allocated towards paying off the debt. So we're looking good. We are looking pretty good. We still have to finish working on the base, which this is what we've got here. Obviously not too much aesthetics given we're still trying to figure out the technical components, but this should definitely be something that we get finished this month in December. And we should also be looking to set up our first partnerships that we're going to be launching and kicking off the year with. So I'm pretty excited. We're going to need to put together a list of ideal candidates that we can look to reach out to and form partnerships with. But that will, again, all be on the to-do list that we will go over tomorrow and get December situated. So we're looking very, very sturdy going into next year. 2025 is setting up to be the year that really changes the game for me, because I know this project obviously is not about me. Obviously, I'm the founder, but the whole goal is putting myself in the position that I have the influence and I have the network to be able to raise money to build cities. That is the long-term vision that I'm building towards. I think the way that modern civilization has gone has it's deviated very strongly off of the path of symbiosis when it comes to humans and the natural environment. You know, I really love being able to just go out and take a stroll in the woods and not be around anything concrete or any cell towers, just being completely alone in nature. But at the same time, I don't like being in the middle of nowhere where I have to drive hours to go to a nearby urban spot. I like the social aspect of big cities like Miami, like New York, but I like the nature component and the more at home feel. I don't know if that's the right word, but the more nature in tune feel that you get from these smaller towns like Ocala, like Gainesville. And so I think there is a way for us to find a happy medium. I mean, they've already discovered things in South America that indicate that there was a civilization that existed very harmoniously with the environment. And I think that's something that we can still get back to today. It's just going to take money and influence to guide the direction of civilization back towards that harmonious state with nature. So I would like to be a part of that. I've got a lot of ideas. These cities I would want to have based around medicine, technology, and organic crop production. And so we we've got a long ways to go before seeing out that vision. But with this opportunity, with 2025, we have the opportunity to really build something that can be the stepping stone towards that. And I mean, given the technology that we're building anyways, we could raise the money on chain for building the city in general. So that's just some insight as to what I'm doing this for, so people can understand why I'm going down this route, what the whole reason is for me raising $1 billion. It's not just so I can buy a jet. It's not just for me to buy a catamaran in Monaco. The whole goal is creating the influence and the pull I need to partner with the people to get this mission done. So I'm really excited for 2025. We've got a lot in store. But with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.